Are you a vegan who dreads an invitation to a barbecue? Well, fear not, because Tony Keogh from Cornucopia restaurant has the ideal alternative for
is,
it.
and it smells. It smells
But
good.
actually, that is a good point, because if I was inviting someone over for barbecue, a bit of outdoor dining in the garden, I would be worried if they said they're vegan. I'm like, what can I give them? It's going to be a nightmare.
Well, it's getting easier and easier, thankfully.
Good.
And what I did was today, when I was shopping today, I tried to get everything in the supermarket, apart from 2 ingredients, which I had to go to the health food store for. But everything else you could just get in Tesco's or Dunnes.
So what were the 2 ingredients then?
The 2 ingredients were the wheat gluten flour.
So that's the stuff that makes it taste, texture, meat texture?
That's the texture, yeah.
Okay.
This is handy to get. You can make it yourself, but it's laborious, so I wouldn't recommend it. I'd say just buy a pack of it, you know. It's basically, if you make a dough with some flour and water, and you rinse the dough, you eventually end up with the protein, and that's what this is, dehydrated back into a powder. So this is about 80% protein, whereas a regular flour is between 8 and 13%.
Oh, wow.
That's the difference, yeah.
And what was the other thing?
The other thing was yeast flakes. I use these nearly every time I'm on. I just love this. That kind of slightly cheesy.
It's dried yeast, is it?
Dried, yeah, it's like deactivated yeast. So it's slightly different, but it's very nice now. It is nice.
When you
cheesy flavour.
When it's vegan, you always have the blender.
Of some sorts, yeah. Now this one here,
it's like a go-to.
It's a go-to completely. It's so important with vegan food. I find a blender and a weighing scales are two the two things that you need a lot. You really need.
So these are portobello mushrooms you're using?
These are portobello mushrooms. So what I'm doing is I'm just breaking them up and I'm going to pop them into the blender here. I'm going to do it in 2 little batches. Oh, I have this one now a while. It's worse for wear, but let's see.
Seen that one before?
Yeah, this is a different one now. My usual one's my NutriBullet. Now there's a couple of large pieces in there, but we'll ignore that. I'll come to them when I get through it. Okay. So I'm just going to scrape that in there. Now I'm actually just tipping that in on top of some barley. I just have some cooked barley there underneath that. I just cooked the barley. The main ingredients in this burger are barley, mushrooms, and gluten flour.
Right.
So I'm going to pop in the other mushroom here.
So is this going to taste like a veggie burger, or is it going to taste have more of a meaty?
More of a meaty flavour.
Okay.
That's the plan anyway.
How does it not fall apart when you put it on? Could I put this on the barbecue?
Oh, you could, yeah. There's a couple of ingredients in here. Yeah. My old trusty is letting me down today.
Get the NutriBullet back.
Yeah, the NutriBullet. But see, the NutriBullet now, the only problem with that is that it'll make this in too much of a puree.
Fine.
Yeah, you want to have you want a bit of a texture. So that'll do. I'll work on the lumps. Don't matter.
So you say that you can stick these on the barbecue and they won't fall apart.
They'll hold. Now I've used them. You can put them in the barbecue, the frying pan. You can actually, after they come out of the oven as well, you can let them. You can bake them, fry them. They're really versatile. You can also put them in the fridge. Some chopped onion here, about half a chopped onion. You can put them in the fridge. You can freeze them, barbecue them, fry them, chop them up. They're really versatile. So just the onions in there. Now that's just half an onion. Now, I'm giving that a good puree, and I'm going to add that. Now, there's a little bit of liquid in with the onions as well, which kind of adds to the moisture content. So I'll just tip that in there as well. And we've got a few more ingredients to work through before we get these into the oven.
And how many burgers are you going to be making with this mixture?
This will make 6 burgers, 6 large burgers, or it'll make 8 small ones.
Decent.
So this is really good value, because one pack of this will make you between 18 and 24 burgers, which is great. Wow. It's about €3 a pack. The rest ingredients are very cheap. So I have here some flaxseed. This is going to help bind it. I have some yeast flakes.
What's that, like a tablespoon of each of those?
Oh, about a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, yeah. There's about 2 tablespoons of pesto, 2 tablespoons of yeast flakes.
Love pesto.
Yeah, pesto's great, isn't it? Yeah. Now, if you want to make an oil-free version, you can just add in chopped herbs, because this is effectively oil-free as well. It's fat-free.
Tomato puree next.
Tomato puree, yeah. A little bit of soy sauce, just a drop, 25 mils or so, a couple of tablespoons. Mustard, and then another ingredient which I really like is from fermented soya beans is miso. I'm using a white miso here, but again, I got this.
Some amount of ingredients
going
in
That's
these.
why I get intimidated by vegan cooking, because when you come in, you do have a lot of little bowls with it.
There's a lot of stuff in my cupboard.
But these all make the flavour, and they're all cheap, and you have loads of them there. Do you see the thing?
You can make loads.
You can make loads out of them, and they last. Like I have to go through my cupboards every few months and throw stuff in the bin. It just goes off.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like miso, and you know, I suppose you'd have different types of mustard and stuff. But my cupboard is full of jars of stuff that's like a year out of date.
That's what happens, you see. But if you have, there's a few staples I find for vegan cookery, and if you notice, when I do come in, some of the ingredients I use are quite similar. Like I will always go back to.
You always have the blender.
I always have the blender. I always go back to mustard. There's always yeast flakes. There's certain things that you'll see keep reappearing.
You get good value out of in your pantry.
Well, you get good value out of them, but they also lend that kind of umami or meaty flavour to things, which I love to replicate. In my style of cookery, I love to use. I love to replicate kind of meaty flavours.
Could you make these like sausages as well?
Oh yeah, you could. Yeah, you can make sausages, and slightly different versions of sausages you can make as well. So I'm going to add some gluten flour to that. Now I'm just going to mix this in quickly, and we'll
So
shake
that's
them up.
the wheat gluten
That's
there,
the wheat
is
gluten,
it?
yes. That's
Okay.
all the ingredients. Everything is in there. So when it goes in first, you'll see it's a bit sticky, but then it starts to come together into a dough.
But you need very little liquid, actually.
Yeah, the liquid actually comes from the soy sauce and from the mushrooms and the onions. That actually creates the liquid. So I'm just going to give this a quick mix. Now, I'd normally break this into 6. I'm just going to make 2 just to demonstrate how it's done.
Yeah.
And then I'll get the other ones on the go. So I'm just going to take out a ball here. So I divide this mixture to 6 or 8, depending on how big I want them. Now, I'm using a metal ring here. You could use a scone cutter. You could also use the lid of a jar, you know, a kind of a thick jar with a bit of cling film in it. Or you could just use your hands and shape them into patties. So like so. So I make 1. I'm just going to make 2.
And you've oiled a little bit of parchment paper there.
I've oiled the parchment paper. Now, that's not entirely necessary, as I said, because you can't make them fat-free. You can actually bake them covered in tin foil, and they'll bake in the oven.
Oh, very good.
So why would people not want the oil on it?
Some people just want to have a kind of slightly fat-free burger. Do you know, some people might be on a diet or they're trying to avoid fat. I put a little bit of oil on because I'm not on a diet. I pop them in the oven like so.
Right. And then in terms of if you were barbecuing, how long would they take? 5 minutes on a barbecue?
5 minutes each side. Yeah, 5 minutes, like
Is that
very,
all?
very fast.
And what about cooking through and stuff?
Yeah,
you don't really have to worry about...
No, not at all, because there's nothing in there. Like, they go in there now for about 35 minutes, and they'll cook through. They'll actually pop up a little bit, and they're ready to go. Now, when they come out, they look kind of like this. Now, I've taken the liberty of putting some vegan cheese on top of them.
Oh, that's vegan cheese. I was going to pull you up on it, going, that's takes it easy.
You
just sneak out there, the gherkin.
They're gherkin, yeah.
So vegan cheese. So I have some buns here, okay? So I'm going to pop on.
Not a big mushroom eater, though, Tony, but
give it a try. It doesn't even taste like mushroom.
It looks so gorgeous.
Give it a try.
Really appetising. Like, look at that. That's great.
So I put on some vegan mayonnaise here. Now, the one I've used there, I've actually used the baconaise one because it's lovely flavour to it. And we're going to pop a little bit of lettuce on top there. I'm just using mixed leaves, washed leaves from the shop. I mean, they're cheap and cheerful. They do the job and they're nice. Pop a burger on top.
What do you think?
And then
It's pretty good.
It's really
a couple
good.
more things. I've got
That's my favourite thing you've ever cooked.
Tony,
thank you very
why
much.
do you do this to me? I keep wanting to criticise you, and you keep coming in.
This is really, really
That
tasty.
the onions there, they are gorgeous,
yeah, the onions.
aren't they?
Now, to
What
make
are
those
they
onions,
now? What- how do you-
you just get some salt and lemon, squeeze in your onions, give them a squeeze, and just leave them to sit for a couple of hours. And they marinate in the salt and lemon. The salt, they're like little small stones. They kind of penetrate the onion and break it down. And then the acid from the lemon kind of cooks them.
Gorgeous, Tony.
Okay.
I'm converted to your
Yeah,
Portobello
I'm just going to very
burger.
quickly just top this off here.
We're going to have to take a break.
little bit of sauce.
Next up, we are going to be chatting to the writer Michael Harding about how his faith helped him cope with COVID. Delicious, Tony. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
guys.